The annual Richardson family dinner was always a spectacle of wealth and passive-aggressive competition, but this year was different. I sat quietly at the end of Maison Blanche's finest table, watching my siblings flaunt their latest acquisitions like peacocks in designer plumage. And that's when I told them $50 million for the summer house was my final offer, my older sister Katherine declared, adjusting her Cartier bracelet. I mean the view of the Hamptons alone. Speaking of property, my brother James chimed in, swirling his $800 wine. My real estate firm just closed on that downtown development. Another $100 million in the portfolio. Mother beamed at them from the head of the table, her diamonds catching the light from the crystal chandeliers. Father barely looked up from his phone, probably checking stock prices even during dinner. Then there was me. Sarah Richardson, the youngest, wearing a simple black dress from last season, no jewelry except my grandmother's old pearl necklace. The family disappointment who'd walked away from the Richardson investment group 5 years ago to find herself. Sarah, darling, Katherine's voice dripped with false concern. That dress, is it from a department store? Leave her alone, Kath, James smirked. Not everyone can afford Chanel. Some people choose to be independent. The way he said independent made it sound like a terminal illness. How is your little, what do you call it? Mother asked, frowning slightly. Your consulting thing? Investment advisory, I corrected quietly, taking a sip of water. It's going well. Of course it is, Katherine snickered behind her hand. That's why you're still living in that tiny apartment in Brooklyn. The waiter approached our table, his expression professionally neutral. Would anyone care to see the dessert menu? We'll take one of everything, James announced grandly. And another bottle of the Chateau Lafite Rothschild 1982. He shot me a pointed look. Don't worry about the bill, little sister. We know times are tough. Yes, Katherine added with a predatory smile. She can't even pay for dinner, poor thing. The waiter shifted uncomfortably, probably sensing the tension. I reached into my simple black purse and pulled out my wallet. Actually, I said softly, removing my black card, I'll be handling the bill. I looked up at the waiter. Pierre, please charge it to the owner's account. The waiter's eyes widened in recognition. Of course, Ms. Richardson. Right away. Katherine's fork clattered against her plate. Owner's account? What is he talking about? I placed my card on the table, letting them all see the distinctive black metal. I wasn't going to mention it tonight, but since you brought up money, I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table, displaying a news article that wouldn't go public until morning. I just acquired Le Maison Group. All 37 restaurants across the country. The silence that fell over the table was absolute. Even Father looked up from his phone. That's impossible, James stuttered. Le Maison Group is worth $2.4 billion, I finished for him. The deal closed this afternoon. Mother's wine glass stopped halfway to her lips. But how? Remember that consulting thing you've been mocking? I smiled slightly. Turns out quiet success is still success. And while you were all busy buying summer homes and showing off at charity galas, I was building something bigger. Katherine reached for the phone with trembling hands, her perfectly manicured fingers leaving smudges on the screen as she read the headline. Le Maison Group acquired by Shadow Valley Capital, Mystery CEO Sarah Richardson emerges as new force in luxury hospitality. Shadow Valley Capital? Father's voice was sharp. That's the firm that's been acquiring luxury brands across Europe? Among other things, I nodded, taking another sip of water. We prefer to operate quietly. Less attention means better deals. James was frantically searching on his phone. This can't. Shadow Valley has holdings worth, oh my God. $12 billion as of this morning, I confirmed. Though it'll be closer to 15 after tomorrow's announcements. Mother's face had gone pale. But you've been coming to family dinners in old dresses, that cheap car. A Tesla Model S isn't cheap, Mother, I corrected. It's just understated. Like success should be. Pierre returned with a leather folder. Your card, Ms. Richardson. And Mr. Chen would like to know if you'll be inspecting the kitchens tonight. Not tonight, Pierre. But please tell Edward I'll be here tomorrow to discuss the renovation plans. Edward Chin? Katherine's voice rose an octave. The celebrity chef? He works for you? All 37 executive chefs work for me now, I said simply. Along with about 12,000 other employees across the group. Father was still staring at his phone, scrolling through financial news. Shadow Valley, they're the ones who acquired that tech startup last month. And the luxury hotel chain in Asia. And the private airline service, I added. Plus a few other acquisitions we haven't announced yet. James set his phone down hard enough to rattle the crystal. Why didn't you tell us? All these years. Tell you what? I asked calmly. That while you were bragging about $100 million deals, I was closing billion-dollar ones. That my little consulting thing was actually one of the fastest growing investment firms in the country? But you live in Brooklyn. Katherine protested, as if this violated some fundamental law of the universe. I own the building, I shrugged, along with several others in the area. Real estate is a good investment, right, James? He flinched. And all those charity galas you mock me for missing? I continued. I'm usually busy establishing education foundations or building hospitals in developing countries. Real charity, not just photo ops for page 6. Mother's hand trembled as she reached for her wine. Darling, if we had known, you'd have treated me differently? I finished for her. That's exactly why I didn't tell you. I wanted to see who you really were. All of you. I gestured around the elegant restaurant. This place, these restaurants? They're not just about luxury dining. They're about creating experiences, making memories. But you've all been so busy showing off your wealth, you've forgotten what it's like to actually enjoy it. Pierre approached again. Ms. Richardson, Mr. Rothschild is on the line from Paris. About the European expansion? Tell him I'll call back in an hour, I said, then turned back to my stunned family. Speaking of Europe, Katherine, that summer house you overpaid for? It's actually on land I'm developing into a luxury resort. We'll be needing that property. Katherine choked on her wine. You can't. I already have, I said softly. The eminent domain paperwork goes through next week. Don't worry though, you'll be compensated fairly. Around 30 million, I believe. Not 50, but then again you did overpay. The dessert cart arrived in awkward silence, elaborate pastries and delicacies that no one seemed interested in anymore. Father had loosened his tie, something I'd never seen him do in public. Mother kept glancing between me and the article still displayed on my phone, as if trying to reconcile two completely different people. I don't understand, James finally said. Why keep up this charade? Why let us think you were struggling? I selected a small chocolate souffle from the cart. Because money reveals character, dear brother. Both having it and thinking others don't. That's not fair, Katherine protested weakly. No. I raised an eyebrow. Let's review, shall we? In the past hour alone, you've mocked my clothes, my home, my career, and my ability to pay for dinner. All while flaunting your own wealth like it makes you better than me. We were just teasing. She began. No, I cut her off firmly. You were being cruel because you thought you could be. Because in your world, money equals worth. I took a bite of the souffle. Excellent. We should give Pierre a raise. Pierre, who was still hovering nearby, smiled slightly. The thing about old money, I continued, is that it often leads to lazy thinking. You all assumed that because I walked away from Richardson Investment Group, I was walking away from success. It never occurred to you that I might be walking towards something bigger. Father cleared his throat. Shadow Valley's market strategy, the quiet acquisitions, the focus on luxury brands, is the opposite of how you taught us, I nodded. No flashy announcements, no boasting about deals until they're done. Just steady, strategic growth. My phone buzzed, another message from my executive team. Excuse me, I need to take this. I read quickly and smiled. Perfect timing. The London acquisition just closed. London? Mother's voice was faint. I confirmed, typing a quick response. A little hotel group. You might know it, the one where you always stay on your shopping trips? I just bought it. Katherine's face went from pale to almost green. The Royalton Group? But that's the most exclusive hotel chain in Europe? Yes. I set my phone down. We'll be renovating the penthouse you love so much. Don't worry, I'll make sure you get a nice room when you visit. Family discount, of course. James was still struggling. But all those family dinners listening to us brag were quite enlightening, I finished. Nothing shows you who people really are like letting them think they're better than you. Mother dabbed at her eyes with her napkin. Darling, we've been horrible. Yes, you have, I agreed calmly. But that's not why I'm telling you all this now. Why then? Father asked quietly. I sat back studying them all. Because tomorrow morning Shadow Valley is going public. We're expected to be the largest IPO of the year. And since I own 82% of the company, I let that sink in. Father did the math first. His face went ashen. That would make you The richest Richardson by far, I confirmed. But more importantly, it means some changes are coming to the family dynamics. Changes? Catherine's voice was small. For instance, those weekly family dinners where you all compete to show off your latest purchases? There'll now be monthly board meetings where we discuss charitable initiatives. Your attendance is mandatory if you want to maintain your trust funds. You can't do that, James protested. Those trusts are ironclad. We're ironclad, I corrected. Until I bought the bank that manages them. Amazing what you can do with proper motivation and $12 billion. Mother's hand flew to her throat. Sarah, please? Don't worry, I said softly. I'm not going to cut anyone off. That would make me as petty as you've all been. Instead, I'm going to teach you something about real wealth. I gestured to Pierre, who brought over a sleek leather portfolio. Inside you'll find details of the Sarah Richardson Foundation. Its mission is to provide educational opportunities and healthcare access to underserved communities worldwide. Each of you will be taking an active role in its management. Active role? Katherine looked terrified at the prospect. Yes. No more writing checks for photo ops. You'll be doing actual work. Meeting the people we help. Understanding the difference between having money and making a difference. Father was studying me with new eyes. You planned this all along, didn't you? Ever since you left the family firm? I planned to succeed, I corrected. Teaching you all some humility is just a bonus. My phone buzzed again. That'll be the Tokyo office. If you'll excuse me. I stood, smoothing my department store dress. Pierre, please make sure my family gets whatever they'd like for dessert. And send some of those chocolate soufflés to my office tomorrow. Of course, Ms. Richardson. I picked up my simple black purse, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. Next month's board meeting? Don't bother with the designer labels and jewelry. We'll be breaking ground on a new hospital in Guatemala. Dress appropriately. As I walked away, I heard Katherine whisper, "What just happened?" I smiled to myself. Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing people how wrong they were about you. It's forcing them to become better people than they ever thought they could be. Even if you have to buy their souls to do it.